So we'll start now our procurement activity for today, June 4, 2026. We'll be conducting the pre-bid conference for various civil works contracts. First, let's check the attendance. In attendance for today, we have Provisional Member Engineer Kalipunan Jr., Engineer Susan Babuso, Provisional Member for Construction Implemented Projects. Also, the head of the Secretariat, Engineer Alex Bertudaso, Engineer Regine Monica, and the Senior President as the members of the Block Secretariat. We also like to recognize the attendees online. We have from Great Field Corporation, Ms. Sheila Sinfuego, attending by Zoom. So there will be a forum for today's activity. We now proceed with the presentation.
Sino ang nakagpapay na mag-practice na experience?
Good morning, I'm Vivian Reyes from Construction Division. And I will be discussing the technical components of the projects implemented in this division. Starting with contract ID number 26K008 and leading FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program. Organizational Outcome 1 ensures safe and reliable national road system, network development program, construction of missing links and roads, MSRGCP, CANDA-HONDAGUA-ROMA Point Road, Roma Point Bridge, Station 1 +360 to Station 1 +400. Next is contract ID number 26D0023, FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program. Convergence and Special Support Program, Basic Infrastructure Program, BIP, access roads and or bridges from the national roads, leading to major strategic public buildings or facilities. Construction of Roma Point Bridge along MSRGCP, CANDA-HONDAGUA-ROMA Point Road, Station 1 +400 to Station 1 +820, QUEZON. Next is contract ID number 26D0024. FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program Organizational Outcome 1 ensure safe and reliable national road system, network development program, construction of missing links or new roads, SANGLEY Airport access roads, Station 31 +920 to Station 31 +945, Cavite City, Cavite. Contract ID number 26D0025, FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program Organizational Outcome 1 ensure safe and reliable national road system, network development program, construction of bypass and diversion roads, BINANGONAN ANGONO TAYTAY Diversion Road, Station 1 +488 to Station 13 +038, BINANGONAN Headset. Next is contract ID number 26D0026, FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program, Convergent and Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating, SIPAG, access roads and or bridges from the national roads leading to major strategic public buildings or facilities. Facility TAGAYTAY Road, Station 73 +295 to Station 74 +220, Cavite. Next is contract ID number 26D0027, FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program, Convergence Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating gaps, SIPAG, access roads and or bridges from national roads, leading to major strategic public buildings or facilities. Las Marinas General Mariano Alvarez Carmona Bypass Road, Package A, Station 44 +465 to Station 44 +561, Carmona, Cavite. Next is contract ID number 26D0029, FY 2026 Dpwh Infrastructure Program Organizational Outcome 1 ensure safe and reliable national road system, network development program, construction of bypass and diversion roads, Parian, San Jose, Bohal, Diversion Road, Station 1 plus 471.5 to Station 1 plus 791.5 Calamba, Laguna. For the items of work, for the facilities for the engineer, 8.1.18 provisional field office for the engineer rental basis per month. 8.1.26 provisional 4x2 pickup type service vehicle for the engineer on bare rental basis vehicle month. 8.1.41 provisional progress photographs per month. Common items on Part B other general requirements. B.5 project billboard as symbol H. B.71 occupational safety and health program per month. B.81 traffic management month for contract ID number 26D0024, 26D025, 26D026, 26D027, and 26D029. B.9 mobilization or demobilization lump sum. B.151 detour or access road lump sum for contract ID number 26D0024. B.181 greenway lump sum for contract ID number 26D0023. Showing you the Dpwh standard project billboard layout. For the minimum material for major contractors, showing you the minimum major equipment requirements. Contract ID number 26C008 trading. MSRGCT CANDA-HONDAGUA-ROMA Point Road, Roma Point Bridge, Station 1 plus 360, Station 1 plus 100. Showing you the key map, layout plan, and vicinity map. General plan and elevation. Foundation plan and fire truck details. Board file details and enforcement schedule and estimated quantities. For the scope of work, construction of 23rd pier of the bridge connecting Rabat Island to Lopez, Quezon. For 23rd pier, construction of 5 of 2-meter diameter concrete grid pads with 15 meters permanent steel casing. Showing you the minimum major equipment requirements. For the manpower requirement, showing you the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 46,369,215 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 JA for the Alleviating program. The contract duration is 225 calendar days. For the major category of works, bridges, construction, concrete, superstructure, recasting textiles, ACCCT. Similar categories of works, bridges, retrofitting, concrete, superstructure, recasting textiles, BRT, CCP. Next is contract ID number 26D0023, construction of Roma Point Bridge along MSRGCT CANDA-HONDAGUA-ROMA Point Road, Station 1 plus 400 to Station 1 plus 820. Okay. Construction of Roma Point Bridge along MSRGCT CANDA-HONDAGUA-ROMA Point Road, Station 1 plus 400 to Station 1 plus 820, Quezon. Showing you the key map, layout plan, and vicinity map. General Plan, and General Aviation. Tier 23, Foundation Plan, and contract details. Board file details and reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities. For the scope of work, the scope of work includes the following construction activities for the respective page piers. For Pier 19, construction of Pier Coping. Pier 20, construction of Pier Pickup, Pier Column, and Pier Coping. Pier 21, construction of 4 pier board piles, Pier Pickup, Pier Column, and Pier Coping. Pier 22, construction of 16 pier board piles, Pier Pickup, Pier Column, and Pier Coping. Pier 23, construction of 5 pier board piles. Showing the minimum major equipment requirements. Showing the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 297 million pesos. Pesos of fund is FY 2026 GA for Dpwh infra program. The contract duration is 310 days. Major for the major categories of works, bridges, construction, concrete superstructure with CASILE spans, BCCCP. For the similar categories of works, bridges, retrofitting, concrete superstructure with CASILE spans, BRD, CCP. Next is contract item number 26-0024, SANGLEY Airport Access Road, Station 31 plus 920 to Station 31 plus 945, Cavite City, Cavite. Showing the vicinity map and key map. Layout plan and straight line diagram. Typical road moving section. For the scope of work, total post traveling of road to meet the production using GL2, with hand lead rack and embankment forward with enforced concrete slope protection, with concrete sheet and armor racks, and the ones on the left side. Armor rack as being separated by JTEX and installed masonry on the right side, or the enforced concrete remaining wall on the right side, or embankment with height greater than 5 meters land side. For the equipment requirements, showing the minimum major equipment requirements. For the power requirements, showing the minimum work expense requirements for the key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 46,869,215 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 GA for the Dpwh infra program. The contract duration is 180 calendar days. For the major categories of works, roads, construction, slope protection using structural measures. For the similar categories of work, flood control, construction, slope protection using structural measures, for example, revetment, retaining structures, rock netting, concrete creep, shotcrete, MSE walls, gabions, riprap, masonry, FCSPS, flood control construction, bank protection structure, FCDPS, flood control construction, shore protection, for example, seawall breakwater, FCSP. Next is contract item number 26-0025, Binangonan, ANGONO, TAYTAY, Diversion Road, Station 12 plus 488 to Station 13 plus 038, Binangonan, Rizal. showing you the key map and vicinity map. Layout map. Typical roadway section. For the scope of work, road embankment using modern kits, structural backfill, common barrow, partial embankment, with partial construction of reinforced concrete slope protection, and with installation of flood meters, steel sheet pile on both sides. Showing the minimum major equipment requirements. For the manpower requirements, showing the minimum work experience requirements for the key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 278,214,325 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 GE Dpwh per program, and the contract duration is 300 calendar days. For the major categories of works, roads, construction, slope protection using structural measures, for example, revetment, retaining structures, rock netting, concrete clip, shot clip, NSE walls, avions, riprap, masonry, RCSPS, the similar categories of works, flood control, construction, slope protection using structural measures, for example, revetment, retaining structures, rock netting, concrete clip, shot clip, NSE walls, avions, riprap, masonry, FCSPS, flood control, construction, bank protection structure, FCBPS, flood control, construction, shore protection, seawall, breakwater, FCSP. Next is contract item number 26-0026, CASILE TAGAYTAY Road, Station 73 plus 295 to Station 74 plus 220, CAVITE. Showing you the vicinity map and key map. For the layout map, typical cross sections. Scope of work, construction of putting concrete road, and construction of stone protection works, stone masonry. Showing the minimum major equipment requirements. For the manpower requirements, showing the minimum work experience requirements for the lead personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 46,369,215 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 GA for the Alleviating program. The contract duration is 255 calendar days. For the major categories of works, roads, construction, CCP, RCP. For the similar categories of works, roads, rehabilitation, PCCP, RRP, roads, construction, tunnel, PCCP, RCPP. Next is contract item number 26-0027, Las Marinas General Mariano Alvarez Carmona Bypass Road, Package 8, Station 44 plus 465 to Station 44 plus 561, Carmona, Cavite. Showing the vicinity map and key map. Layout plan and straight line diagram. Typical road section. The scope of work, construction of 6-lane road opening near gravel road with 0.25 meter thick aggregate sub-base course. Construction of a 2-lane concrete road with 0.25 meter thick aggregate sub-base course and 0.28 meter thick PCCP along with a temporary shoulder consisting of 0.25 meter thick aggregate sub-base course and 0.18 meter thick crush aggregate surface course. Construction of reinforced concrete slope protection on both sides. Showing you the new major equipment requirements. For the manpower requirement, showing the minimum work experience requirements for the key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 89,956,835 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 GA for Dpwh infra program. The contract duration is 225 calendar days. For the major categories of works, roads, construction, gravel, RCG. Similar categories of works, roads, construction, asphalt, RCA. Roads, construction, PCCP, RCP. Roads, rehabilitation, asphalt, RRA. Roads, rehabilitation, PCCP, RRP. Next is contract heading number 26-0029. Parian, San Jose, Bohal, Diversion Road, Station 1 plus 471.5 to Station 1 plus 791.5, Calamba, Laguna. Showing you the vicinity map and key map. Typical roadway section. MSC wall details. For the scope of work, pouring road graveling, installation of mechanical stabilizer, MSE, wall as slope protection structure. For the equipment requirements, showing the minimum major equipment requirements. Showing you the minimum work experience requirements for key personnel. The approved budget for the contract is 178,717,035 pesos. The source of fund is FY 2026 GA 30 income program. The contract duration is 300 calendar days. For the major categories of works, roads, construction, stone protection, using structural measures. For the similar categories of works, flood control, construction, stone protection, using structural measures. The control construction bank protection structure FCBPES. The control construction short protection FCSP. That will be all for technical components. Thank you.
Questions? Uncheck sila tayo.
Yes, po.
Kapag nag-equality kami, yung sa at least mas kayo dahil implementing kayo. Yung scheme doon sa service vehicle na for rental. After pinapalad over sa atin o binabalik natin sa contractor.
Sa
Mga rental service vehicle saan? Okay na. Hindi na kaya. Okay.
Ex na po muna. Wala.
Good morning po. I'm Romea Alvarez.
Ito po yan, no? Ito ba yun siya? Hindi ko alam. Ganyan. Okay na.
Good morning po. I'm Romela Alvarez and I'm here to present the legal and financial component. For the bid data sheet, IDB Clause 1.1 to procuring entities, Department of Public Works and Highways, Regional Office number 4A, and the project title is as discussed previously po. And also the identification number po. ITV Clause 2, the funding source is 2.1, the GOP, through the source of funding as indicated below for FY 2026 GAA in the amount of as discussed previously po. And the 2.2, the source of fund is NDA, the General Appropriation Act or Special Appropriation. ITV Clause 3.1, no further instruction. ITV Clause 5.2, bidding is restricted to eligible bidders as defined in ITV Clause 5.2. ITV Clause 5.4, contract similar to the project shall be closed as described as follows. 1. The following is the major category of work involved in the contract to be bid, as discussed previously po. And 2. The following are similar categories of work that shall be considered in the evaluation of the work experience required for the contract to be. And also po, na-discuss na po to earlier. ITV Clause 7, no further instruction. ITV Clause 8.1, subcontracting is not allowed. ITV Clause 8.3, not applicable. ITV Clause 8.4, subcontracting is not allowed. ITV Clause 9.1, the procuring entity will hold a private conference for this project on June 4, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Meeting Room, Diversion, Regional Office 4A, Tandungang Interchange, Barangay Mayapa City, Alamba City, Laguna, and or through video conferencing by Zoom and through live stream on YouTube. ITV Clause 10.1 to procuring entity address is Edward Martin M. Mananes, Bank Chairperson with telephone number 02049 348 with an email address procurement_r48 at dpwh.gov.ph. For ITV Clause 12.1H, bidder are also required to submit the following documents. 1. Latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial owner information duly received by the Security and Exchange Commission for corporation. And 2. Valid ISO 9001-2015 certification or its latest version issued by an accredited certification body when applicable pursuant to the Department Order Number 110 Series of 2024 for bidders classified under the following income size ranges and participating in infrastructure projects within the corresponding approved budget for the contract. Large A, more than 300 million but less than 450 million effective January 1, 2025. Medium B, more than 150 million but less than 300 million effective July 1, 2025. Medium A, more than 30 million but less than 150 million effective January 1, 2026. For large B contractors, ISO 9001-2015 certification shall continue to be required for infrastructure project costing 300 million and above. Failure to submit any of the foregoing documents when applicable shall be ground for disqualification. For ITV Clause 12.1H2, the minimum work experience requirement for the key personnel is discussed previously, include the tax identification number of all key personnel. Accredited safety officer required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to BO 98 series of 2014, submission of construction and Safety and Health Program approved by the Department of Labor and Employment. First reader with certificate of training issued by Red Cross in compliance with all the requirements for the approval of construction safety and health program required upon issuance of the notice of award. Subject to D098 series of 2014, submission of construction safety and health program approved by the Department of Labor and Employment. The key personnel should meet the following numbers of years of experience. 1. The experience means total years of civil work experience of any nature in construction engineering consultancy services. 2. Compliance to DO number 169 series of 2025 guidelines on accreditation and assignment of contractors and consultant project engineers. 3. Compliance to DO 98 series of 2016 revised guidelines on accreditation of contractors, consultants, materials engineer. 4. Include the contact number of the material engineers. For ITV Class 12.1 H3, the minimum major equipment requirement is discussed previously po. And please refer to DO 11 series of 2017 for the minimum materials testing equipment and DO 127 series of 2018 strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of post-qualification of bidders to delay ongoing contracts with Dpwh. ITV Clause 12.4, the ABC is discussed previously po. Any bid with financial component exceeding this amount shall not be accepted. ITV Clause 14.1, the bid prices shall be quoted in Philippine pesos. ITV Clause 14.3, not applicable. ITV Clause 15.1, bid will be valid 120 calendar days from bid opening. ITV Clause 16.1, the bid security shall be in the form of a bid security declaration for any of the following. The amount of not less than 2% of ABC if bid security is in cash, assured checks, or manager's check. The amount of not less than 5% of ABC if bid security is in bank draft, guarantee, irrevocable letter of credits, or surety bond. ITV Clause 16.2, the bid security shall be valid until 120 calendar days from bid opening. ITV Clause 16.3, in case of extension of bid validity and bid security validity period, substitution of the bid security form is allowed. Bid security declaration and the following forms will be used. A. Cash or manager's check issued by bank. B. Bank draft guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a bank, provided, however, that it shall be confirmed or authenticated by the local bank if issued by a foreign bank. C. Surety bond, followed by the government issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security. ITV Clause 19, there's a submission of bids is within room, Dpwh Regional Office 4A, Tandubang Interchange, Barangay Mayabasi, City of Calamba, Laguna, and electronically should be submitted at electronic bids _ R4A at dpwh.gov.ph. The deadline for submission of bids is June 17, 2026 at 10 a.m. for the contract numbers 26B00008, Prebidding 26B00023, 26B00024, and June 18, 2026 at 10 a.m. for contract ID numbers 26B00025, 26B00026, 26B00027, and 26B00029. For bids to be submitted electronically /online, the following procedure should be observed following D087 series of 2020. ITV Clause 21.5, no further instruction. ITV Clause 22.1, the date and time of bid opening is June 17, 2026 at 10 a.m. for contract ID numbers 26B08 reading, 26B023, 26B024, and June 18, 2026 at 10 a.m. for contract IDs number 26B025, 26B026, 26B027, and 26B029. The place of bill of the name is Spirit Room, Diversion Regional Office 4A, Tanubang Interchange from Gaymea, City of Calapala, for IDB Clause 22.2B, not applicable. For IDB Clause 25.3B1, no further instruction for LCRB is the award criteria. Also for IDB Clause 25.3B3, 25.3B, no further instruction for LCRB is the award criteria. For ITB Clause 25.3CI, not applicable. ITB Clause 25.58, partial bid is not allowed. The infrastructure project is packaged in a single lot and the lot shall be not divided into subland for the purpose of bidding evaluation and contract award. In all cases, the NFCC computation, if applicable, must be sufficient for all the lots or contracts to be awarded to the bidder. ITB Clause 25.5B, bid correction shall be allowed. ITB Clause 25.6, no further instruction. ITB Clause 26.1, none except for permits or license expired during the bid evaluation and cost verification stage. For the special condition of contract, GCC Clause 1.1, the intended completion date. GCC Clause 1.2, the procuring entity is Department of Public Works and Highways, Regional Office Number 48. GCC Clause 1.3, the site is located as discussed previously. GCC Clause 1.4, the start date should not be later than 7 calendar days from its issuance date of the notice to proceed. GCC Clause 1.5, the works consist of, as discussed previously, and for GCC Clause 2.2, not applicable. GCC Clause 5.1, the procuring entity shall give possession of all parts of the site to the contract or abandon state of the notice to proceed. GCC Clause 6.5, the contractor shall employ the following key personnel. 1. Project manager. 2. Project engineer. 3. Materials engineer or construction safety officer. 5. Foreman. 6. Student engineer. GCC Clause 7.1, no further instruction. GCC Clause 8.1, the amount of the advance payment is 15% of the contract amount in lump sum. GCC Clause 9.1, materials and equipment delivered on site, but not yet incorporated, the work shall be included for payment. GCC Clause 9.4, the advance payment shall be repaid by the contractor by deducting 15% from his periodic promise payment, a percentage equal to the percentage of the local contract price used for the advance payment. GCC Clause 12.7, no further instruction. GCC Clause 13.1, the site investigation report are none. GCC Clause 15.3, no further instruction. GCC Clause 15.5, in case of permanent structures such as building of types 4 and 5, as specified under the National Building Code of the Philippines and others, structure made of steel, iron, or concrete which comply with relevant structure code, example, individual standard specification, such as but not limited to steel, concrete, bridges, flyover, aircraft movements, areas, ports, dams, tunnels, filtration and treatment plants, sewerage system, power plants, transmission and communication towers, railway system, and other similar permanent structure. 15 years for contract ID numbers 26B00008 and 26B00023. In case of semi-permanent structures such as building of types 1 and 2 and 3 as specified under the National Building Codes of the Philippines. Concrete or asphalt roads, concrete river control, drainage, irrigation, line canals, river landing, deep wells, rock causeway, pedestrians, overpass, and other Similar semi-permanent structure, 5 years for contract ID number 2060-0024, 2060-0025, 2060-0026, 2060-0027, 2060-0029. GCC clause 19.2 to further instruction. GCC clause 20, if the contractor is a joint venture, all partners to the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. GCC clause 25A, no further instruction. GCC clause 27.2, violation which will warrant suspension which may include but is not limited to the following violation below. A. Failure of the contractor duly solely to its fault or negligence to mobilize and start work or performance within the specified period in the notice to proceed. B. Failure of the contractor to fully and faithfully comply with its contractual obligation without valid cause or failure by the contractor to comply with any written lawful instruction of the procuring entity or its representative pursuant to the implementation of the contract. For the procurement of infrastructure project or consultancy contract, lawful instruction include but are not limited to the following. 1. Employment of competent technical personnel, competent engineers and or work supervisor. 2. Provision of warning signs and barricades in accordance with the approved plans and specification and contract provision. 3. Stockpiling in proper places of all materials and removal from the project site of waste and excess materials, including broken pavements and excavated debris, in accordance with the approved plans and specification and contract provision. 4. Deployment of committed equipment, facility support, staff, and manpower. And 5. Renewal of the activity dates of the performance security after its expiration during the course of contract implementation.
No, wait. Ayaw mag-next. Ayaw mag-next. Hindi, ano siya? Hindi responsive.
C. Assignment and subcontracting of the contract or any part thereof or substitution of key personnel named in the proposal with a prior written approval by the procuring entity. B. For performance by the contractor or unsatisfactory quality and or wrong support arising from its fault or negligence as reflected in the CPES rating sheet. In the absence of the CPES rating sheet, the aesthetics performance monitoring system of the procuring entity shall be applied. Any of the following acts by the contractor shall be construed as for performance. 1. Negative estimation of 15% and above within the critical part of the project due entirely to the fault or negligence of the contractor. And 2. Quality of materials and workmanship not complying with the approved specification arising from the contractor's fault or negligence. E. Willful or deliberate abandonment or non-performance of the project or contract by the contractor resulting to substantial breach thereof without lawful and or just cause. In addition to the penalty of suspension, the performance security posted by the contractor shall be also be permitted. GCC clause 31.1, day works are applicable and the rate shown in the contractor's original bid. GCC clause 33.1, the contractor shall submit the program of work to the procuring entity within 10 calendar days of the delivery from the notice of award. GCC clause 33.3, the period between program of works updates in 1 month and or 30 days. The amount to be withheld per late submission of an updated program of work is 1% of every progress billing of the contractor. GCC clause 36.3, the funding source is the government of the Philippines. GCC clause 43.1, the percentage to apply to the value of the work not completed is at least 1/10 of 1% of the cost of the unperformed portion of every day of the day. GCC clause 44.5 cases where an extension of the contract time may be granted which may include the enumeration below. A. Rainy/unworkable days considered unfavorable for the prosecution of the works at the site based on the actual condition obtained at the site in excess of the numbers of rainy/unworkable days predetermined by the procuring entity in relation to the original contract time during the conduct of the detailed engineering and in the preparation of the contract documents as agreed upon the parties before contract perfection and or B. Major calamities such as exceptionally destructive typhoons, floods, and earthquakes and epidemics. C. Delays attributable to the procuring entity such as non-delivery on time of materials, working drawings, or written information to be furnished by the procuring entity, non-acquisition of permits, rendered private properties, or non-execution of deed of sale, or duration within the right of way, resulting in complete parallelization of construction activities and D. Other meritorious causes as determined by the procuring entity and approved by the Pope, such as shortage of construction materials, general labor strike, and peace and order problems that disrupt construction operation through no fault of the contractor may be considered as additional grounds for extension of contract time, provided they are publicly held and certified by appropriate government agencies such as PTI, DOLE, DILG, and DND, among others. GCC Clause 48.1, the date by which operating and maintenance manual are required is 30 calendar days. The date by which as-built drawing are required is 30 calendar days. GCC Clause 48.2, the amount to be withheld or paying to produce as-built drawings and or operating and maintenance manual by the date required is 10% of the final contract price. For bid security, bidders are allowed to choose any of the following forms: cash or cashier's or manager's check issued by a bank, 2% of ABC bank draft guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a bank, provided however that it shall be confirmed or authenticated by a local bank if issued by a foreign bank, 5% of ABC, surety bond o callable demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission and as authorized to issue such security, 5% of ABC. Bid security declaration. Important notice: bid and bid security shall be valid within 120 calendar days from the bid opening. Amount of cash, cashier checks, manager's check, 2% of ABC. For contract ID number 6B00008, amounting to 927,384 pesos and 30 centavos. 26B00023, 5,940,000 pesos. 26B00024, 927,384 pesos and 30 centavos. 26B00025, 5,564,286 pesos and 50 centavos. 26B00026, 927,384 pesos and 30 centavos. 26B00027, 1,799,126 pesos and 70 centavos. 26B00029, 3,574,340 pesos and 70 centavos. For bank draft, guarantee revocable letter of credit, surety bond, 5% of ABC, contract ID number 26B00008, 2,380,460 pesos and 75 centavos. 26B00023, 14,850,000 pesos. 26B00024, 2,318,460 pesos and 75 centavos. 26B00025, 30,910,716 pesos and 25 centavos. 26B00026, 2,318,460 pesos and 75 centavos. 26B00027, 4,497,860 pesos and 75 centavos. 26B00029, 8,935,851 pesos and 75 centavos. For the service of legal and technical requirements, showing you the technical component envelope. For the financial component envelope. For submission of bids, one envelope system documentary requirements to reside fascinated with ear tags and book bag for technical and financial envelope original, one original for technical and financial basic, one sealed envelope. Payment process of valid documents, Monday to Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and on Thursday, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Billing dates, June 17, 2026 at 10 a.m. for contract ID numbers 26B08, 26B023, 26B024, and June 18, 2026 at 10 a.m. for contract ID numbers 26B025, 26B026, 26B027, and 26B029. For the cost of billing documents, for contract ID number 26B008, 26B0024, 26B0026, amounting to 25,000, and for contract ID numbers 26B023, 26B025, 26B027, and 26B029, amounting to 50,000 pesos. Important notice, the net financial contracting capacity or NFCC of the bidder shall be used. The eligibility processing prospective bidder must have an NFCC at least equal to the ABC to be procured as follows. IRR section 23.5.26. NFCC is equal to current asset minus current liabilities times 50 minus value of portion of all outstanding works under the bidder's ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts to be started, which portion coincide with the contract review. Credit line commitment shall no longer be accepted per GPPB Resolution number 20, series of 2013, dated July 30, 2013, and Department Order number 37, series of 2014, dated March 26, 2014. In the NFCC, the fixed factor 15 shall be used in the computation of NFCC regardless of the contract duration. As for the 0193 of 2016, the procuring entity shall disqualify the contractor from participating in the bidding or award of contract for infrastructure project if it's peer procured a delay in any of his ongoing contract, government or private, which is considered attributable to him, pursuant to the provision of IRR of RA 9184 in any of the following cases. 1. Where the firm procured a negative stipulation of at least 50% of his ongoing contract in accordance with Section 34.3B.2 of Rule and Response Qualification of RA 9184. 2. Where the delay in the completion of works has exceeded the time duration equivalent to 10% of the specified contract time plus any approved time suspension, the same shall be subject for rescission in accordance with Section 8.4 of Annex E of RA 9184. Or 3. Where the total liquidated damages has exceeded 30% in the total contract price, the same shall automatically be taken over with the procuring entity or award of qualified contractor through a negotiation in accordance with Section 8.50 of Annex C of RA 9184. work experience in similar contract, prospective leaders must have done a single largest completed contract or SLCC similar to the contract to be procured and whose values and current price sense is at least 50% of the HGC to be paid. That's all po. Thank you po.
We'd like to put on record the attendance of our back vice chairperson, Engineer Malaysia Binangonan. Also in attending via Zoom, from Relief Pack, where they are not the Engineer Robert Naval. So may we ask the attendees, both on and online, if there are questions or clarifications.
Ayun na, napaka-capital cost. May questions po sila concerned. Okay na yan. Okay na yan. Let's go, nakikita po kung ba. Clarification. Meron na?
Meron po.
Meron na po.
Kailan po pwede mag-site visit para sa project construction ng Roma Point Bridge?
Meron naman schedule na. They can make the request para i-fix the schedule.
Okay po.
Yan po, may question po, when will be the site visit date? We acknowledge the question from Frankie. Possible po make the necessary formal and written request. And then we will post accordingly the date when the site visit po can be scheduled. One time date para po all possible or interested bidders can join that set date. Yun po.
Meron po po.
May question pa po from Craig. Pero na lang pag nag-study sila, pag-verify tayo, focus natin yung vote for
Sige po, sir.
para one time, halimbawa, June, ikilan ka mo kung pwede mo. Maring June 7, lahat ng gusto mo kami June 7.
Sige po.
Site.
Parang pwede lang, baka hindi siya lang.
Sige po.
Focus na lang po kami ng
Ay, ano pa? Enter kayo pa.
7 days before the
Ibigay po yun.
you know what, before at least 7 days before the date of meeting, para we can acknowledge and we should necessarily be fully.
Just those 7 days, 7 days.
Meron pa po from Davey.
Wala po.
Thank you very much po from Rayfield. So if there are no other questions from the attendees, we can call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for all the above members and our attendees for this morning's activity. Thank you very much.
Yeah.